Good morning. It is time to ramble in the closet a little bit. It's 7:30 in the morning for me. I was just playing some video games after dropping the gal off at work. I didn't want to go to bed, so I made myself some coffee, and then I got to thinking. And so I figured I'd do some thinking in the closet again. Thanks for tuning in, I guess you could say. There comes the old radio thing. I was thinking about judging people because that's a very it's a very fun activity in my life, and my fiance makes fun of me for it sometimes. More than makes fun of me sometimes. Sometimes she gives me a hard time about it, and sometimes she doesn't like that I do it. But hey, you know, I'm just like she is and just like you are, and we all have those little micro judgments we make. Sometimes I might just be a little more verbal about it than most. But they're never usually nasty things. You know, there's just oh my gosh, why would you ever wear that kind of thing? Or no, maybe you shouldn't be yelling in public, you know. Basic judgmentalism. And gosh, you know, I was trying to talk to my gal and explain to her why I am so judgmental. And part of what I was trying to explain, and part of what I was thinking about just a few minutes ago while waiting for the rest of my team to pass away in my game, is I was thinking of the opposite of judgment, which I'm not sure what that would qualify as, but I guess it's just complete acceptance of an individual, right? I get, so I just Googled it just because I'm lazy. Judgment is the ability to make considered decisions or come to sensible conclusions. So yeah, it's the ability to decide, to make a judgment on something, to say, I could either sleep in or wake up. What should I do? You're making a judgment call, right? And the way we use it when we're talking about the faults or pluses of other people is we go, oh, you're judging them. It's like, well, maybe? I guess when you use that word in that way, you're kind of saying you are putting upon them a way of your thinking and putting on them a moral quantification. That's not a word. Quantify. Maybe it's a word. You're putting on a moral bag. What the hell am I trying to say here? My gosh, I guess maybe I haven't had enough coffee. Kyle, you are putting on a moral weight on other people for them doing things that you don't agree with, that are just your personal opinion, and you are judging them for it, and that is what you're doing. And I go, not really, kind of. Well, yeah, of course I am, actually. Let's be honest. That's what we do. When you wake up in the morning and you decide what to do, you are making a judgment call. And it's kind of moral as well, because, you know, you could just go down into the depths of apathy and laziness and sloth, not go to work, not reach out to your family or friends, and just hide in your house and do whatever the hell all day. But instead you go, I guess I'm a good person. I'm a functioning member of the society. I should probably make some money so that I can make money for myself, pay taxes, and live a healthy and productive life. That's a moral decision. Even if you're not like a religious / spiritual / whatever the heck person, even if you're like a self-proclaimed atheist, you can still say that's a moral decision. You're making a moral call. You're making a judgment call because you are saying one thing is more important, at least to me, than the other thing. But it's not just you, is it? You're not just making your decisions for yourself. You can't be. When you get in the car and drive to work, you're not just driving to work like a race car driver. You're maneuvering through traffic. You're stopping. You're going. You're not just running red lights. You are operating in a world with a bunch of other yous. And you don't want to be rude. And you don't want to get pulled over. So you're going to follow the law. And you're going to follow the common courtesy. And you're going to go to work like a civilized human being. Another judgment call. And it's not just based on what you want to do with your life. You gotta negotiate with the rest of the world. And to me, that implies that this whole acceptance, this whole blanket acceptance and tolerance of everything everywhere, to me is, I'm not going to say always wrong, but it seems like it's pretty false or a pretty bad idea a lot of the time. Reason being is that we don't do that in our life. We don't just let everything go and accept everything and tolerate everything. We don't. We actually have boundaries. We actually have limits. We actually have opinions, and we make judgments even if we don't say anything about it. For instance, you see someone walking down the road wearing an incredibly trashy outfit. Whether it be a female or a male, they can both be trashy. And you think, oh gosh, who hurt them when they were young? I mean, you might not think, I think that sometimes, but you might not think that. You might think, oh my gosh, why would you present yourself that way? Good goodness, that's a little, ugh. You think it, and you know you do. You might not say it out loud, and that's okay. Keep it to yourself. You might be more polite than I am, but that's okay. You're still making it in the first place. You are still judging, and that's okay. You're allowed to do that. We all do it. I think it's become more of an accepted thing, so I'm kind of rambling to the choir, you could say. Because I've been getting this comment a lot in the past few years saying, well, you know, you say, oh, no judgment, man. And then someone replies, oh, come on, everybody judges. And it's like this joke. It's like, yeah, no, we all do. Of course we do. But it gets to the more serious things. And that's when it becomes dicey. When you start judging people for their lifestyle habits. Or when you start judging people for, well, yeah, I mean, the things they do in their lives that other people can come in and say, Kyle, you should just let them do what they want. You shouldn't be so judgmental. Let them be free. Tolerate. Accept them. They don't sound like that, I promise. This is just what I hear in my head sometimes. And hey, you know what? I'm totally good for that. You know, I'm a libertarian. I'm all good for, you know, don't hurt me, don't take my stuff. That's great, you know? As long as you're not impressing upon my ability to live in a free and healthy, productive life, then you can do whatever you want. And as long as you're not imposing on other people, you can do what you want. That's good. I'm cool for it. I really am. Doesn't mean I don't have my opinion, though, about what other people do. You know, like if you live in a cult, right? This might be I have a habit of making extreme examples, but they do make a point, I feel like. Let's just say you got a dude or a dudette that's in a cult, and part of their weekly culting duties is they go up and they like chop a pinky off. I guess you could only really do that once or twice. Or 4 times if you count your pinky toes. Yeah, let's say before they become a member of the cult, they have to chop all their pinkies off because they are higher falutin people. We have discovered that you don't need your pinky toes for balance anymore, and we need to evolve. So cut them off. As for the pinkies on your hand, well, those are just unnecessary appendages. So to become a fully fledged member of the cult, you got to chop your pinkies and your pinkies off. Now, I can't say that I have a problem with anybody over the adult age to consent and go do that for themselves. Yeah, I might be thinking there's a little bit of a mental problem going on, but hey, you know what? As long as you're not forcing it on people, or if the pinky cutters are not forcing other people to come with them and cut their pinkies with them, then hey, you know what? Really, part of me, I think the majority, if I wasn't the 5% dictator, wants to stop it. But the 95% libertarian anarchist inside of me is like, yeah, whatever. Fine. But that doesn't mean that I think they're absolutely crazy, which I do, because they are. Not that these people exist. These are obviously a hypothetical, but let's just say they did. You'd think they're crazy. You'd go, what the heck? And then someone could come along and go, oh, Kyle, stop judging. You just gotta accept other people. This is making them happy. This is what they want to do with their lives. And to that, I would reply, no, incorrect. These individuals, these people going to the cult, have problems that they are running from, and there's this thing that is telling them to come in there and to then take advantage of their insecurities and mental problems, and then to cut off parts of their body. It's like, what? That's not good. I mean, hey, like I said, man, I'm not going to call the cops on you, but I'm not going to be okay with that. And if you think it's also great for the person who's doing it, no. And that's not compassionate, by the way. I'm not being nice by saying it's okay that you go and cut your pinky toes off. That's not being nice. That's actually, you know what? To me, see, this is what I was thinking about 15 minutes ago. I was thinking that really, if you just accept and tolerate everybody, I think a part of that comes from actually one's apathy. towards other people. It's one's lack of care. They don't want to engage. They don't want to spend energy on trying to help their fellow man. They just go, let them do whatever they want. It's like a bad parent. I mean, not a bad parent. It's like it's like a bad parent who, now, of course, parents should leave their kids alone to some extent when they're playing, and let them play and let them discover rules and mistakes on their own. But if you just neglected your kid and said, yeah, whatever, let them do whatever they want, I don't care, they can order whatever food, eat whatever food, they can jump off the couch, they can do literally whatever they want as long as they're not stopping me from watching my show. That's a pretty shitty parent, right? Oh, pardon my French, but that's a pretty bad parent, right? We'd all agree that lack of care is how that's coming off, which is that you don't care about your kid. And I feel like that totally translates in a way towards this, let people do whatever they want to do. I think it comes from a place of apathy, maybe hidden in our subconsciouses. Maybe we don't, and this is why we don't call it apathy, because we don't want to think of ourselves as apathetic towards people we don't know. But you know what? Actually, don't think of yourself as too bad of a person, my friend, because you can't actually care about people on the other side of the country. You can't care about people you don't know. They're just these made-up figments in your mind. You can't actually care about them. Well, there's this number, I forget, that I think it's around 200, less than 200 people. That's about as many people as we can keep track of in our head. It's like a medium-sized village, right? Shocking. We spend thousands and thousands and thousands of years like that. That's what we're used to. We're not able to, in the past 100 years, catch up mentally and evolutionarily to being able to keep track of, I don't know, the 1,000 friends you have on Facebook. Who has 1,000 friends? That's another little rant I can go off of. Who has 1,000 friends? I have 79-something friends on my Facebook, and I could probably get rid of a couple of them because I don't really talk to them. How do you have 1,000 friends? How can you keep track of 1,000 people? How busy is your newsfeed, by the way? My goodness. No judgment. But seriously, though, you can't keep track of 1,000 people. You can barely keep track of 200 people. You can't care about someone you don't see because you don't see them. They're this figment. They're these made-up pinky toe cutters that are in your head that you're theoretically okay with. But if you were to ever talk to this individual in person, you'd go, holy crap, they're messed up. You'd go, oh my God, there's something wrong here. And they might come across totally normally the rest of the time, but then they get to the cult and they go, all right, time to cut off the pinkies. And you're like, ah! And you'd care. If you met this pinky toe cutter, you'd look at him and go, hey, bud, I don't understand. You seem okay, but for some reason you think you shouldn't have any pinkies, and you're going to go cut off your pinky toes. You might not need them for balance anymore, but geez, what if you cut it off bad or something? I don't know. Whatever, man. But you're not okay with it. You are not okay with the pinky toe cutter, and I know it. But back to what I was saying, it seems like when people just go, you gotta accept people. You just gotta let them do whatever they want. I feel like that's coming from laziness. I really do. I feel like it's coming from the sense of, I honestly couldn't care less. I don't want to put any energy towards helping my fellow man discover what's right for them. So really, they can do whatever they want, and I'm gonna go do my own thing and play my game and not contribute to society. And I go, no. I have an unlimited amount of energy when it comes to judging people and telling them what they should do. And if you know me, you know that very well, but I do so hopefully in a not actually bad way. Talk to my parents. Good God, I annoy them so much where I'll be hanging out with them and they will do something that I disagree with. Like simply saying a word. I'll say, guys, why do you use that word so much? It doesn't mean what you're using it for. And I do so. I'm not saying I just go around correcting people all day. That's not. I think you've gotten a sense in the past 7 episodes that that's not exactly who I am. But if I do so, it's only going to be with a friend who I care about, and it's going to be in a playful, nice way, if not just a making fun of way, with not actually trying to change who they are. One of the biggest. And everybody will tell you this about me. I really dislike the word sorry. When you just go, when you bump into me at work and you go, oh, sorry, I don't like that. Say excuse me. Say, pardon me, my bad, excuse me. By saying sorry, it's almost like you're telling me that I'm mad at you. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for bumping into you. As if you're assuming that I'm going to get mad at you for bumping into me, which I'm not going to get because I don't care. You bump into people at work. I'm kind of chill. And then I'll turn around and go, don't say sorry. Okay, oh man, I'm being so mean to myself. I don't say it like that. I just go, don't be. And I smile. I say, don't be. Like, I have coworkers at work who, they'll interrupt me, or I'll interrupt them, or they'll interrupt someone else, and they go, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. And I go, whatever, it's fine. I'll just keep talking. It's all good. Don't be sorry. All good, buddy. And also, I also don't want people to feel sorry, right? So it's also this care for wanting someone to feel comfortable and happy in a conversation or in a work setting. I don't want them to feel sorry. You didn't irritate me. I don't get irritated pretty quickly. Now, if you really do something that's worth apologizing for, well, you're either not going to apologize for it anyways because the level of that thing is you have to be doing it on purpose, essentially. And then to apologize about it, it's kind of a lie unless you come to fruition in your mind and go, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that. I'm so sorry. In which case, I accept your apology. Those are useful. That's when being sorry, the word, actually works. But when you just bump into someone, excuse me. That's all you got to say. You don't have to say, oh, I'm sorry. Because I feel like when you say sorry, you're discounting the word because you're saying it so much. I feel like everybody says sorry. I do it too. Gosh, I know I do it. And it's something I try to change myself all the time. I go, excuse me, pardon me, my bad. Anything except for sorry. Even I apologize is a little better than sorry. I don't know. Sorry is like this, I feel sorry. It's like, well, for what? Bumping into me? Get over yourself. You're fine. I'm not irritated. And I'm not the kind of person to get irritated when you bump into me. This is another thing that bothers me about the whole sorry thing. I'm not the kind of person to get mad at you for doing a silly mistake. What kind of person do you think I am? I'm not an asshole. I like to think of myself as a nice person. Where was I? Oh yeah, people don't care about people. That's right. That's where I was going with this one. Yeah. So I correct behavior no more so I think than other people correct behavior, but maybe a little bit more because, well, in my opinion, and I really believe this, I am only going to correct behavior or try to correct behavior in people that I care about, and I'm only going to do so if I'm very confident about what I'm saying. Because the last thing you want to do is to give advice or I guess I should say give advice instead of correct behavior. When I say I correct behavior, I sound like a complete tyrant. I'm not giving myself good enough due. I don't do that. I more give advice. Like, for instance, if I'm at work and my good friend is talking to a customer and he says something funny and he comes back and I go, hey, bud, heads up. When you said that thing, and he goes, yeah, I go, this is why that might not be a good idea. And he goes, oh, I never thought about it that way. Good call. And then they'll do the same thing to me. I'll say something, and then my coworker, if they care about me, if they want to see me succeed, my coworker will come up to me and say, hey, you said that's incorrect or not right, or here's why it's not a good thing to say. And I'll go, oh, great, okay, thank you. Information needed and logged. So now I can never do that again and be a better employee and or coworker. We give life advice to each other all the time. Of course we do. How could we not? Are we just going to let each other bump into each other and figure things out on their own? No, of course not. We care, and so we say, hey, you should probably do this. And sometimes the advice is wrong. I mean, go on the internet. You can find advice for literally anything, and a lot of it is probably incorrect. But we still do it. And by giving advice, you're making a judgment, and you are judging someone. Shocking. I know, because you care about that person. Because you want to see them succeed and be a happier individual. And so you're making a judgment on their pre-existing behavior, and you're saying, hey, don't do that, do this. I mean, hopefully you phrase it better and find a more effective way to do so, which I will talk about, maybe if not in the next few minutes, but in a future episode, which is how to properly, talk to people about what you are doing wrong and what they are doing wrong. Because it seems like we're all very bad at that. We're all very terrible at keeping ourselves in line. And maybe that's another reason why we don't do it, is because we all suck at it. And so maybe it's not just that we don't care about our fellow people. That's why we're apathetic and we let them do whatever they want. But it's also because we don't know. We might know what is right, but we don't know how to get that information to the other person without them getting defensive, because everybody seems to get defensive now when you correct them. And then you just go, oh, well, I don't want to cause an argument, so whatever, do whatever you want, bud. It's fine, I don't care. Especially when it comes to heated things like someone's personal identity or personality, which is an interesting aspect of the world we live in. You hear a lot, and I heard a lot growing up. You just gotta be who you are. This goes back to the last episode. You just gotta believe in yourself. Well, who is myself? And to that, they would go, well, you have to decide who you are. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? When I play Fallout, no, bad example. When I played Skyrim, you have like 12 different abilities you can start with. You have like 8 different races you can be, like an elf or a dwarf. And then like you choose your fighting style or something. If you add all of them up, you get like 60-something possibilities. 60, probably less. Maybe let's just do a nice round 50. You get 50 options on how to start your game. That is always way too much information for me. I know some people love that, and they'll replay the same game over and over and over and over and over again with all these different variations, but that's just too much for me. I need like 3. Give me 3 options. I'm going to be a fighter, I'm going to be a sneaky guy, or I'm going to be the healer magic background backup guy. That's all, or the tank. So 4 options. Give me 4 options, and I can figure it out, and I can try. But give me 50 options? Oh my gosh, I can't do that. I'm just going to choose the same one over and over and over and over again, which I do. I replay Skyrim and Fallout, and I do the exact same things every time with minor variations. And so you're telling people to not only go from 50, but go to an infinite amount of ways to be, and you're going to say just be whoever you want. It's like, what does that mean? It's like Netflix. I've used this example before. Forgive me for repeating myself. It's like Netflix. When you scroll down Netflix and you can't find a movie to watch, even though there's a million amazing movies to watch, you just rewatch whatever show it is. Yeah, same idea. And you think people can just make up whoever they want to be and do so in a productive and good way for themselves and society? Nah. You gotta help them, or at least give them some guidelines, man. Hey, wake up in the morning. Hey, if you don't have to make your bed, but if you start the morning off, do it with one productive act. Make your bed. Like, straighten up your shoes. Put all the laundry away in the hamper. Like, do one thing that's productive. Why? It makes you feel better. You actually get a dopamine hit from doing a productive thing. I know, it's crazy, right? It's amazing. It's fantastic. It's like free drugs. Just do work. you get high. I mean, not really, obviously, but sometimes. So yeah, God, I see. This is the problem. I've gone on so many unfinished branches here in my rambling that I don't know which one to pick back up. So we started with judgment and acceptance and not caring. Oh, that's where I was going. Yeah, personality is not something you just get to make up and do whatever you want with. Come on, we all know this as well. You actually only have a certain amount of ways of being that are actually proper and good for you and society. And you get to choose from those things. You don't just have some infinite number you can choose from and be whoever you want to be. It doesn't work like that. And thank God it doesn't work like that. And I think, going back to last episode, the don't believe in yourself, I think this is one of the biggest problems with nihilism and people feeling lost and sad and alone out there, is because the world has just kind of thrown up their hands and said, you know what? Do whatever you want. We don't give a damn. Do whatever you want. Be who you want to be. We don't care. We'll be over here doing our own thing. And then everybody else is going, what? What do I do? Okay, thanks. And then they go and try things and it doesn't work out for them. They go, oh my gosh, society sucks. It won't let me be who I want to be. It's like, no, you suck. We all suck. We're all pretty bad. And by the way, if we're all pretty bad and flawed, can you imagine making up an entire personality just by yourself? You're going to be so messed up. It's not even funny. You have to conform in some ways. Part of integrating yourself into society is giving up parts of your individuality. Of course. That's the sacrifice you make in order to be able to take advantage of the awesomeness of society. If you want to be yourself, go live in a forest and build a hut and be happy there. That's fine. I'm good for that. I actually think national forests should be more open to things like this. But if you want to use the roads and take part in the sewage and, drive You have to not be yourself all the time. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. You should, I think, because I do, take happiness and solace in this fact, because you don't have to make all the decisions for yourself. Some of this shit's already been done. Some of this stuff has already been done. It's already been figured out. Like, if you want to find a roadmap to being happy, it's out there. It really is. And I know how to do it. I skip out on some of it because I'm a flawed human being and I don't know anything, right? So, of course, I make mistakes. But, hey, get up on time in the morning, do something productive, add something to the world, and then go to bed on time. Like, do that for a year. And a lot of stuff is going to sort itself out, and you have more freedom in other ways to do whatever you want, to be your own person. Because I'm not saying you have to be this. Of course, if you know me, this is not what I would be saying. You do not have to be some cog that fits into the machine of society that spits you out and makes you into something that looks like everything else. No, of course I don't think that. But there is a level of conformity that you have to take part in. Even if my, pipe dream anarchical society could exist, you'd still have to be part of it to make it work. And that means giving up on your individuality. And by the way, going back to the very beginning, giving up on your individuality, or at least deciding how to be, requires a severe amount of judgment. You are judging everything, every decision you make, every lifestyle you try, and everyone around you. We're always judging. We're making judgments in our head, and making a judgment is not a bad thing. Now, the bad part of it is discriminating, right? This is the part that no one talks about when they add the word judgment. They say, Kyle, you shouldn't judge. It's like, actually what you mean is, Kyle, you shouldn't judge and then discriminate right away. Because by making a judgment, you could be wrong. Or I could be wrong in my judgment. And then if I were to go on and then act on that judgment and discriminate, yes, that's bad. I agree. To some extent. There are times where you can discriminate right afterwards and be just fine. But that's also part of the freedom that we enjoy, is that you're not necessarily allowed to just discriminate right away. You can make your own personal judgments, but when it comes to how we treat everybody, at least in the letter of the law, it all has to be equal, as long as we're not hurting each other or taking your stuff, right? So judging's fine. Even going to someone and saying, hey, man, I see you do this. Here's why I think it's a bad idea, and here's maybe something else you could do instead. And by the way, it was a very nice way of putting it. I recommend much nicer ways of talking, and I will probably talk about that in a later podcast. The best way to correct someone. Gosh, that's gonna. I have friends that I know, if they heard me say that, would roll their eyes. Oh, Kyle's being his tyrannical self again. It's like, no, I'm a libertarian. I don't want to. You can do whatever you want. But, hey, if you are like this, I mean, it goes down, it gets very serious, but I want to be a little playful before I leave because I have to go get ready for work in a few minutes. But yeah, if you put pickles on your ice cream, you're gosh darn right I'm going to say something. Okay? Sue me. All right? That's wrong. That's messed up. Something wrong with you. Now, obviously, I don't think that, truthfully, it's a playful thing. But we can exaggerate right back to the point of the pinky toe cutters. Yes, I will look at someone who cuts off their pinky toe and I'll go, hey, buddy, something's wrong. And I don't think cutting off your pinky toe is the best way to figure out or to fix what is wrong. I think we should try to figure it out. And by the way, that is apathy. Or no, that is empathy. I actually care about this person, even though I don't know them. I care about my fellow American and my brothers and sisters. And I care about you and me and everybody around us. And so when you go and try to cut off your pinky, I'm going to go and try to stop you. Because I care about you. Because we should care about each other. We should love each other. We shouldn't just let each other do whatever you want, or else you're going to get a lot of lost people going into cults and cutting off their pinkies. That's what happens when you don't try to help each other. You get lost and you chop off your pinky. I know. It's a great example. Okay, it's been half an hour. I hope I've made sense there, rambling here in this closet. You can find me, you can find this podcast on Twitter. The name is Rambling in a Closet, but the hashtag is GKEI2023 because I can't change the handle from the original podcast name, which was Good Knowledge, Evil Ignorance. But now it's Rambling in a Closet. Okay, I'm going to go finish my cup of coffee, get ready for work, and go to work. And be a productive member of society, by the way, and drive to work in a very conformist fashion. Okay, thanks for listening. Comment on the Twitter. Let me know what you're thinking. Give me some ideas. Again, we'll see you next time.